Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they're comfortable. And comfort is expensive. You wake up, you go to work, you get paid, you repeat. You tell yourself you're building something, but what you're really building is dependency. The middle class is not poor. That's why it's dangerous. It gives you just enough income to survive, but never enough leverage to escape. And the longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to leave. Because comfort rewires your standards. You stop asking, how do I build assets? And you start asking, how do I upgrade my lifestyle? That shift alone keeps people stuck for decades. Let me explain something uncomfortable. Most people don't want freedom. They want security. Freedom requires risk. Security requires obedience. Freedom requires ownership. Security requires employment. And ownership is what builds quiet wealth. The wealthy don't chase higher salaries. They chase control. Control of time. Control of income. Control of decisions. The middle class trades time for stability. The wealthy build systems for leverage. This is why two people earning the same amount can end up in completely different futures. One upgrades their car, the other buys equity. One increases expenses, the other increases ownership. And over 10 years, the gap becomes irreversible. The middle class mistake is thinking income equals wealth. It doesn't. Income is survival. Assets are power. And here's the truth most people ignore. The system rewards those who own pieces of it, not those who work hardest inside it. You can work 60 hours a week. You can be disciplined. You can sacrifice. But if your effort doesn't compound, you're just running in place. The middle class is built around consumption. New phone, better apartment, nicer clothes, weekend trips. It feels like progress. But progress without ownership is illusion. Real wealth grows quietly. It's built in boring moves, equity, dividends, private ownership, long-term positioning, not status. And here's where it gets uncomfortable again. The middle class often defends the very system that limits them. They say, that's risky, that's unrealistic, that's for rich people. But wealth isn't built by avoiding risk. It's built by managing it. Calculated risk, strategic exposure, long-term patience. The wealthy think in decades. The middle class thinks in months. That difference alone changes everything. Because when you think in decades, you don't panic. You don't rush. You don't chase trends. You position. You wait. You accumulate. The middle class focuses on upgrading lifestyle. The wealthy focus on upgrading leverage. That's the separation point. Another truth most won't say. The middle class is trained to optimize comfort. The wealthy are trained to optimize control. Comfort is short-term. Control is permanent. And here's the final uncomfortable truth. You cannot consume your way into wealth. But you can invest your way into it. Even slowly. Even quietly. You don't need dramatic moves. You need disciplined positioning. Because wealth isn't loud. It's structural. It's boring. It's strategic. And it's patient. If you feel stuck, it's not because you're incapable. It's because you're operating inside a structure that rewards compliance more than ownership. The question is simple. Do you want comfort or control? Because you rarely get both. And the wealthy already chose. Quietly. Most people are so entrenched in their routines, they find it hard to even contemplate change. They look around and see their peers stuck in the same cycle, reinforcing the notion that this is just how life is meant to be. Comfort, however, can be a seductive trap, lulling one into a false sense of security. Each day blends seamlessly into the next, making the idea of risk feel like a distant memory, overshadowed by the familiarity of a paycheck. Yet in that daily grind, dreams of freedom and ownership begin to fade. But what many fail to realize is that the pursuit of comfort comes at a significant cost to their potential. As time passes, The urgency to break free diminishes, replaced by a complacency that whispers, "Why rock the boat?" They become accustomed to the predictable rhythm of life, but at the expense of genuine satisfaction. Instead of focusing on building real wealth through strategic investments, they fixate on enhancing their consumer lifestyle. It's easier to believe that happiness lies in acquiring material goods, yet this fleeting joy quickly dissipates, leaving behind an emptiness that deepens over time. However, if you dare to look beyond the allure of comfort, you'll find the path to control is paved with choices that might seem daunting at first. It requires actively seeking opportunities that challenge your status quo, embracing uncertainty instead of shying away from it. While the middle class may prioritize short-term satisfaction through consumerism, the wealthy understand that investing in knowledge, networks, and assets is what really cultivates lasting prosperity. Each decision becomes a stepping stone towards greater autonomy, where your outcomes are not dictated by a paycheck, but by strategic moves made with purpose. In this landscape, wealth becomes not just a goal, but a mindset that fosters resilience and growth. The realization that comfort breeds dependency can shake one to their core. It forces a confrontation with the very fabric of their beliefs about success. Those residing in the middle class often delude themselves into thinking that their consistent earnings equate to progression, yet they overlook the profound difference between mere survival and true wealth creation. The hesitation to navigate beyond comfort zones transforms into a crippling barrier that stifles ambition. Reaching out for opportunities often feels like stepping off a cliff, terrifying yet exhilarating. Instead of merely existing within a confining structure, embracing calculated risks could enable transformation. Shifting focus from immediate returns to long-term asset building is essential. It's about cultivating the vision to see beyond today's contentment, aiming for a legacy that outlives fleeting trends. Wealth isn't just a number in a bank account. It's a comprehensive strategy that prioritizes ownership over consumption and control over complacency. In this way, the story of one's life can evolve dramatically, fueled by informed choices rather than blind acceptance. It's about standing at a crossroads, armed with the understanding that the road less traveled, though fraught with uncertainty, can lead to a magnificent destination. Ultimately, the question remains, will you settle for comfort, or will you seize control? You have to ask yourself, are you willing to disrupt that familiar routine for the chance to actually thrive? The journey requires stepping into the uncomfortable, where opportunity awaits for those brave enough to seek it. This transformation is not for the faint-hearted. It demands courage and perseverance. Embracing control means reevaluating your relationship with risk and reward. It challenges you to forsake the mundane and take ownership of your future. Forget the trap of security. Now is the time to act, to choose growth over stagnation. To build lasting wealth, you must commit to a different mindset.